Okay, guys, time for us to continue from the previous video. Now, in object-oriented programming, you have what's called an abstraction. What's called polymorphism. And then you have inheritance. And then you have encapsulation. I'm not sure if I am spelling this correctly. We talked about abstraction. Well, these are all the classes, like they are abstractions of real world objects. Like imagine a remote control. Usually we don't care how the remote control works inside unless we're building one, but we care about switching the channel, changing the picture format, input, output, stuff like this. We don't care. Like imagine console write line. We don't care how write line works internally. We just use write line and we care about receiving the output to the screen. So these are all abstractions. Now I'm going to talk about inheritance and encapsulation. Now imagine we have our wizard class. We talked about this in the previous video, and then when we typed in wizard1, and then you'll see lightning teleport and fireball, but what is equal, what is get hash type, what is this to string. Okay, these are some methods which we already inherited. There is this base object base object class that we inherit from, like all classes inherit from this. Now I'm not going to explain what these methods do, but rather explain how we can use inheritance. Now imagine we have our wizard. We have the warrior, we have the healer. Now, if you played Guild Wars, you know that these have different purpose, like the warrior is the tank. It might have like some shield bash, you know, or shield attack. I'm not going to spell the whole thing. Then this will have the heal and this has some spells. Now they're all different characters. This one is the tank, this one deals DPS, and this one heals the group members. Now they all have hit points. Now how to do this? We write here hit point, hit point, hit point. But then we remember, okay, we forget to add the name. And we write name. And we write name. But, you know, then we think, okay, we add some guild. Like they will belong to some guild. And you get the picture, but now I said 3 classes, but imagine like we have like in some fighting game we have 20-30 characters, and you know you might miss somewhere, produce some errors. Maybe you then make some changes, and maybe you remove some of these properties. Then you need to change all characters, and this becomes quite problematic quite fast. Wouldn't it be easier if we have a way to do this change in one place and affect all other playable characters? Well, we can do this by using inheritance. Now let's create this public class called character. And we have here int public int hit points, and then we have public string, and then we have name. We no longer need this, and this is how we do the inheritance, like press these two dots, and now if I type in wizard again, used autocomplete, now we have hit points like we have the name. And if we have another class and it inherits here, then it's the same deal. Now in C# you cannot have something like multiple inheritance. This means I cannot inherit from some other class. We can inherit from only one class. So you saw me typing this public keyword. Okay, what happens if I change this to private here? And now we don't see these hit points anymore. Okay, let's try accessing this using these keywords, and we still don't see this one. Then let's write protected here. Let's write this here. Well, still nothing, but we have these hit points, and you can see this small sign here. This means that this is like protected. Now there is this also protected internal, and you can basically type in here C# access modifiers. Now I use mostly public, private, and protected. I rarely use the other combinations, but you can see the explanation. Like I always search people, check the documentation. So we have public, private, protected, then we have internal. So this is for the same assembly. Let's say you have some DLL. Then inheritance works there. Then the type member protected internal can be accessed any code in assembly, which is the declarator from within the derived class. Now I am not going to read everything here, but you can go here and then just experiment with the different combinations. And now you might be asking, okay, why do I need these access modifiers? Why not make everything public and change the hit points like here? Well, yeah, but sometimes it doesn't make sense for other classes to change this, or to change this directly. Maybe we have some function which is called set health, and then maybe, you know, we check if hit points, you know, below 0, then we will write something like death, you know, you died, something like this. So, okay, what does it mean if I, you know, type in here, I forget to type in void here. So it doesn't make sense, you know, to use this hit points and, you know, what does it mean to set like to minus 100? What does this mean? So this is some basic example, of course. You know, you might have different business requirements. Now, your constructor can, you know, we talked about the constructor. The constructor can be private. The class can be private. Like one thing to note here is that all classes by default are private. Also, if you have this public and then you set this to private, C# will complain inconsistent, less accessible, then yeah. So you can imagine that maybe I have to create a video dedicated to access modifiers, and maybe even there it won't be possible to explain all the combinations and what does private, what does protected mean in a certain case. There are some design patterns, so you can search for design patterns in Google, but basically sometimes by making the constructor private there is some certain benefit. And I think this is all there is to know about inheritance and these access modifiers. Of course, these are complex topics and I cannot explain them in full detail in only one video, but as we progress learning about programming and C#, I'll explain these concepts in more detail. But for now, this is all, and thanks for watching.